Hey, what's up? Ben with Ben's High Performance here. So I wanted to make a video to go over the race car that we just got back from Enterprise Motorsports Differentials. Motor built by Angie and Dave Timmons over at Dave's Engine Machine. I really wanted to get this car taken apart, but I've been busy with other stuff. And before I took it apart, I really wanted to show what Mike and Jeff did to the car, because to me, this stuff is artwork, and I love the raw finish that it is in right now, because you can hide a lot of stuff with paint and powder coat, but right now, with it being as raw as it is, this to me is actually the coolest part about it. So what I want to do here is kind of go around the car, show what Mike did. The car used to be a twin turbo setup, 8.5 mainly race. We went 450s, about 166, 167 in the 8th mile. And this whole rebirth happened because we had a converter charge pressure issue, which wiped out the thrust, and everything just went downhill from there as far as redoing everything. The previous setup was gorgeous. It was a beautiful twin turbo setup. I still have a lot of it on the car, but we wanted to go to a single turbo to fit better for class rules and everything else. So I am not a professional videographer. I'm not good looking. This is just something that I want to make to show why there's always a flipping line at Enterprise Motorsports and Differentials, why there's always a line at Dave's Engine Machine. They just do impeccable work. We're very lucky to have them in this area. Mike does a lot of work with Eric Hay with the No Prep car. And if you follow that series at all, you saw how incredible they were doing last year. And that car's out there getting rebuilt right now. They're going to kick ass again this year. But I really wanted to show what they did to the car and how it came out before I tore this thing apart. So let's check this out. So this is the car right here. And I put a picture of it before when I first came back. But first thing we added to the list was the Pro Jack mounts. I had Mike do the Pro Jacks for me because I was tired of doing all the jack stand stuff. Got those for a pretty good number. So we had to make those up and get those installed. Then the list began, and we went to a single turbo setup back from the twin turbo setup here. The tanks that are here were from the original build with the twins. This is the fuel tank right here. This is the overflow tank as far as the puke tank for oil and everything else, water and everything. So those were from before. Mike had front half of the car before with the down bars and everything. It's got the original motor from before, but Angie and Dave went through it. We put on a newer set of SC1 Chapman heads. Those heads are probably still at least 15 years old, but we went with the new intake manifold, and we're going to be running a 16 injector setup with some Deca 210s and some badass Moran 550s are going to be there. Again, this is just how I got the car back. This is completely raw. We haven't done any wiring yet, but that's going to be up next as far as tearing everything apart. So the first thing that was on the list was a turbo setup, and as you can see, Mike made these beautiful custom headers here, all stainless. The flanges were from S&S, and just beautiful work going into this insane merge down there where you've got a wastegate, the merge coming into the turbo from the other side as well from the crossover. If we come in over here and show you, this is the header itself. Nothing touches the tire, clears, got plenty of clearance there from the strut. Just an amazing job. I don't know how these guys can do this with metal. I mean, you weld on a piece of metal, it moves like crazy, and the gaps and the proportions are all just so right for all this stuff here. So on the bottom of it here, you can see that the merge comes in down below from the other side. Passenger side turbo comes in right here. And then we go all the way up into the turbo itself, and he's got so much stuff going on here with the one gate, the merge going into the 4-inch V-band. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Again, I don't know how he does all this stuff, but it's pretty incredible. We got some Brown & Miller oil line fittings as well that he put on here on this side. And continuing on this side here, we put some new limiters on the car, so we'll get those taken off and get those powder coated. We got some nice coil mounts right there. Then he made up a nice little custom bracket right over there. Actually, let me get a light here. So there's a custom bracket. Got made again. This is all raw. I'll be cleaning it up a little bit here. And we got a fire system right there with some fire system nozzles. So they ran those inside the roll cage, came out really nice. And, you know, got to have the protection when you run this alcohol, obviously, here. So coming back up here, had him put these really nice burn down breathers on. This is a Dash 20 hose. He made it work with the Brown & Miller crimps. And as you can see on the car, Mike has definitely gone to the Brown & Miller hose. Really nice stuff. You know, it's his go-to now, and I just said, just do it, and you know, we'll sell it up later. But I'm really glad I did. Everything from the fuel to the oil is all in this really nice crimp fittings. Just came out amazing as far as the fit and finish of it. And this is the Clearview oil filter that we had them put up here just to watch what's going through the engine. This would have saved me an incredible amount of downtime if I would have saw metal going through the engine from the thrust bearing from last time. So that's why we put this in there, so we can see if anything's going away first, if we can help it. So Clearview was on the list. Then coming over to here, again, all these lines, all these fuel lines were all made, custom made. We had the mechanical fuel pump mounted. They made this really nice fuel bypass here. That's a bypass. We have a mechanical bypass here, so that I've got a handle on the shifter, so that if something happens, I can throw the shifter, or I'm sorry, I can throw the handle by the shifter. The fuel pump will go into bypass. The motor will not consume any more fuel. So I wanted that as a safety precaution, just in case the engine was running. I can hit that valve and the alcohol will shut off to the motor. We'll talk about that when we go inside the interior. Got a beautiful RCD gear drive. Dave and Angie have always told me to run gear drives. Always have. Jason's car over there, he's got the gear drive in my older 8.2 deck 302 motor. Still works. It's a Milan setup. It works great. So continuing on with the RCD gear drive is why we went to that. All these fuel lines here, Mike did. Mike made this little mount right here to keep everything neat and tidy together. And then over here we got some really cool stuff. I just like the small detailed hoses, and especially this suction line right here. This is a 2-inch suction line which feeds the mechanical pump, and then we have the primer pump right here, which comes off of the suction line, comes out of the primer pump into the Y block. And when we actually shut off the mechanical pump, when you turn on the electric pump, it then primes the entire fuel system, and it comes back to the regulator. And then that way I just simply prime it like that, and then turn the mechanical valve to open to the entire system. Don't run the fuel pump anymore, and it's going to fire right up. So everything is just well engineered, just thought out, just awesome on everything. These are all custom water lines. We still are running water inside the engine. Mike had the mid plate. Mike made the mid plate up here to work with the car, his custom made mounts. He's got these really cool little slider bars here. These are from last time, but those are cool. You can slide the engine forward on those. You can obviously slide it back on those little bars right there. And then this is the water system. I'm running water in the car. The motor is dry deck. We got double O-rings and everything, but wanted to still run some water inside. So we got a nice Mazir water pump. Don and the guys down there, awesome family, great racers. They love big stuff, which is even better. But we got a nice water tank there, Mazir water pump. Water lines go in to the block, go out the back of the head, come back through, back out the front of the head over here into the tank. Very simple system, just to keep water flowing through it. That goes by quick, but that was obviously a lot of work. Continuing on, we've got the coil mounts over here. We've got the passenger side header, which just came out awesome as well. EGT probes are in there. He also made up a really nice custom throttle body cable for me. So the throttle body cable, I want to have full control over it. I did not want a stock cable anymore. I've had it forever. That's what I've always had. So we went to a nice aftermarket Morse cable. He made up a nice pedal assembly, which I'll show you. That's the crossover in the back for the fuel. And then those are the water lines coming up from the block to the cylinder head. And Mike did an amazing job on this valley plate. I can't really show it off in there, but that's a custom made 3/8 of an inch thick valley plate that he made specifically for the engine. Just all CNC'd. I mean, I don't know, this guy's talent just knows no bounds, but you can kind of see the back of it right there. Just amazing stuff out of the shop. I mean, this is always why there's a freaking line to get into this place, and it's never going to stop. The talent between him and Jeff is just ridiculous. So on this side, we just continued over here. We just got the limiters again, passenger side header, which goes into the crossover, which feeds the other side. another 60mm wastegate over here. And then again, all the really cool tube work. I mean, just the tube work to hold everything up. I geek out over all this small little tubing that he makes up and all the supports and the brackets. I mean, just awesome stuff. And when it's painted and everything, it's all cleaned up, it's gonna look like $1,000,000. So just really good stuff. I just can't get enough of it here. So now if we go inside the interior, they did put in a whole new fire system in the car. So we've got a Safecraft fire system. They're local, they're out of Concord, which is awesome. Support local businesses there. They put the shutoff valves right there next to the driver's seat for the fire system. Put a keypad up in there for the electronics panel. This is our new electronics panel that we have right here. This is gonna house the big stuff and a PDM. That's all we're gonna run on the car. Everything else is pretty much gone at this point. So we're gonna have two systems in the car. We'll be doing a lot of R&D and work with the system as well. This is where the big drives are going to go right here for the injector drivers, for the big injectors that we got. Then this over here is the new shifter, and then this is the fuel shutoff. So again, I mean, just Mike made a really cool tubing, he made a really cool bracket out of a bunch of tubing, and just solid as can be. I mean, it ain't going to go anywhere. And then that's going to allow me to open or close the fuel. I definitely like that, just feel a lot safer with it there. Also put a battery mount in the car. Again, all this is totally raw. I've got to clean all this up, paint it, get some carpet in here, and get everything cleaned up here. But going to the other side of the car, as we're walking around here, also had to made a dual chute mount here. So with the two chutes, we're going to be pneumatic now. Before it was a single spring compressed parachute. Now we're going to be air over pneumatic, which would be pretty cool. Again, take all this off, powder coat it, everything. We'll go to Moss Brothers, get the treatment. We've been using those guys for years. Before I go to the front though too, this is actually, let me get a flashlight real quick. I was able to actually score one of the first rear ends that Mike did out of sheet metal. And it's pretty cool that I do have the first one, and it just came out great. It's, you know, got the huge 9-inch in there, full custom EMD sheet metal housing. Just ridiculous. It's gonna be something I can never have to outgrow. This is a stock suspension setup. This is not a 4-link. We're still stock suspension still. So he's got all the trick brackets and stuff we can do to move the control arms around, but we still are stock suspension. And then obviously we got the Pro Jacks that he mounted as well too, front and rear for those as well. So come back over here on the driver's side, a couple things left. There's the gas pedal that I had made up right there so I can get my foot hooked up in there. Now I've got complete control. He put a Morse cable. Again, love all the small brackets here, made everything up. That's going to be the throttle cable now. And we've got some more fire system stuff over here that's going to be spraying on me, God forbid something does happen. We've got some nozzles pointed right at me. They also did lower down the seat. The seat was a little bit too high last time for when I was in the car. It's getting a little too tough, a little too tight up against the roll cage. So, but that's basically it. It goes by quick when you talk about it like this, but there's so much detail and so much time it takes to do all this stuff. And now I can take it apart, and we can get to it here and have this guy wired up here. Myself and Jason will get in here and start tearing it apart and getting some wiring laid out. And hopefully we're going to be having this car run in about a month or so. Then we can come out and start playing around this summer. So thanks for checking out this video. Thanks again to Mike and Jeff, Angie, Dave. I can't do it without you guys. I've been with them for almost 15 years now. I'll never be going anywhere else. They're like family, and just an awesome build. And I'm very fortunate to be working with some great people. So if you haven't checked out Enterprise Motorsports or Angie or Dave, definitely give them a call, send them a message, and you'll be taken care of for sure. Thanks.